It's really wonderful to be back and to see all of you. To be back on our pulpit, praying with you, singing with you. And one of the gifts of a sabbatical that I did not anticipate is the sweetness of return when it concludes. I don't know really what I expected to happen when I walked back in or when I got in the pulpit, but I certainly didn't expect the kind of outpouring of love and all the beautiful reconnections and gestures of warmth and welcome. For the last couple of weeks, many people have asked me, are you sad that your sabbatical is ending? Do you feel ready to go back? While the end of such a special time does bring feelings, I would not say feelings of sadness, because I haven't felt sad. More than anything, I've been feeling excitement to see all of you and to resume my professional responsibilities as your rabbi. I missed you. I really missed you. I thought of you all the time. I missed hearing about what's going on in your lives and in the lives of your dear ones. I missed seeing our students make their way through our hallways, all bunched up and chatty. And I missed seeing my cherished colleagues every day and engaging in the work that we do collaboratively and thoughtfully, sharing and debating ideas, and of course, our playful shenanigans. I didn't need a sabbatical to recognize that our temple community is a huge part of my life and the life of my family, and that being away from it would feel strange and different and evoke feelings of longing and missing. And it was good to have a break. I do absolutely feel ready to be back. My message tonight will not come close to conveying all that I learned and experienced over the previous 3 months. And that's not my intention. My hope is that the pieces that I have learned will come out little by little in the years to come through teaching, preaching, conversations we have privately, either in your homes or in my office. Tonight, though, I would like to share with you some of the big ideas that I carry with me from my sabbatical that I think have universal meaning that can improve our lives. There are 5 of them. Number 1. What you think you need may not be what you really need. Before starting sabbatical, I had a very clear sense of what I wanted and needed from the 3 months, and I created a detailed plan to accommodate those desires. I'd been accepted to the Wurzweiler School of Social Work at Yeshiva University to begin working on a clergy certificate in gerontology and palliative care. I had signed up to attend a professional conference in Israel for 2 weeks, and I committed to working closely with the clinical pastoral education team at Memorial Hermann Hospital to do a deep exploration of best practices for the professional advisory group that I chair. I also had made plans to travel with friends and family for pleasure. All of these endeavors were great and enriching and fulfilling. A lesson that I learned about myself was that being away was key. It forced me to relax very differently than I can relax at home. A change in routine, in scenery and surroundings was critical, and having access to natural beauty was key. Delray Beach, a friend's lake house, Israel, Michigan, they were the landscapes of my most invigorating pieces of sabbatical. I lucked out with great weather and had plenty of time to be outdoors, to walk, to explore, to just breathe. While I thought what I needed was a solid plan with good meaty chunks of rich content and enrichment, what I really needed was to be away, out of town, with good chunks of time. Number 2, replenishment comes from doing something different, not from doing nothing. In addition to the plans I made for learning and volunteering, I had hoped to have some downtime to just chill and relax, to do nothing. I envisioned literally just sitting still. Well, let's just say I'm not very good at that. But more importantly, I found out that I felt happiest and most fulfilled in doing things not sitting around, resting physically. The luxury of sabbatical is that I had the time and flexibility to do things I don't usually have time to do. attending my children's plays and dance performances and competitions, sharing Shabbat meals and gatherings with friends, completing multi-step home projects and tasks, and exploring new areas to walk and hike. I felt replenished in doing things that are different than I usually do. Number 3, it can be scary to do new things, and doing them is important. When I went to register for my palliative care with severe illness class, I was stumped relatively quickly in the process. Who would have guessed that my YU email password was not the same password to access the portal and Canvas? I did not know that. Registering for classes I hadn't even begun yet was a learning process, and the Yeshiva Youth system in Canvas felt intimidating, and it was the only way I would be ready to begin class. So I had no choice but to keep trying and figure out how to access the support I needed, and I became very close friends with the tech support team at YU. It was not my comfort zone. Similarly with traveling to Israel and getting to Jerusalem on my own. I recognized atrophied muscles that needed some exercise, and my sabbatical was the perfect time to push myself to do things I had not done before or hadn't done in a really long time. Were there some missteps and wrong turns? Yes, and even in a foreign country. And I emerged more confident and ready to take on other challenges and new experiences, mostly because of those missteps. Number 4. Time is the greatest luxury we have. Without question, the greatest gift of sabbatical was time. Just having time and not feeling that things were so smushed together, that was the best feeling. Having time between tasks, time to get things done without competing against other obligations, time to walk every day, time to just be. Even at the grocery store, feeling like I could walk down every single aisle and just look at things, read labels, and not be rushing off to the next. What a luxury. Once it occurred to me, this important realization powerfully informed the choices I made during sabbatical. Where I had hoped to clean out my closets and organize every drawer and shelf, I quickly surrendered those tasks in favor of more experiential-focused activities with my family and friends, which leads me to the last universal message I want to share tonight. Nurturing friendships and relationships requires time and leads to the greatest joy in our lives. Over the last several months, it occurred to me that the majority of my time is totally spent with tasks, planning, or completion. That's just the nature of life for most of us. And don't get me wrong, I am task-oriented and I like planning with the best of them. But having time away from work and the opportunity to do things differently solidified for me that the essence of life, the richness of life, is less about what we do and much more about who we do it with. Time with people we care about and people who care about us only occurs when we prioritize it. And it can be our family, it can be our friends, and it can be our colleagues. Whatever age or stage we are at in life, however busy we are with work and other obligations, nurturing our relationships has to be the highest priority if we want to ensure that we have people to share our lives with. There is no question about it. So number 1, when you think what you think you need may not really be what you need. Number 2, replenishment comes from doing something different, not doing nothing. It can be scary to do new things, and doing them anyway is important. Time is the greatest luxury we have. Nurturing friendships and relationships requires time and leads to the greatest joy of our lives. These messages that I'm sharing with you tonight about the lessons gleaned and clarified during my time on sabbatical are in harmony with this week's Torah portion. It's a special selection for the Shabbat during the holiday of Passover. In Leviticus 23, we read about the Omer. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelite people and say to them, when you enter the land that I'm giving you and you reap the harvest, you shall bring the first sheaf of your harvest to the priest. He shall elevate the sheaf before Adonai for acceptance in your behalf, and the priest shall elevate it on the day after the Sabbath. And from the day on which you bring the sheaf of elevation, the day after the Sabbath, you shall count off 7 weeks. They must be completed. You must count until the day after the 7th week, 50 days. Then you shall bring an offering of new grain to the Lord. We are in this special time of year, the Omer. It may not be a sabbatical like I had the very good fortune of having, but it is time set apart to be mindful, to count, to keep track. It's a time that we can all use to rededicate ourselves to the ideas I shared, but more importantly, to truths that you want to realign with. In Rabbi Karen Kedar's book, Omer, Accounting, a resource of beautiful and evocative readings for each day of the Omer, today's reading speaks to this possibility. She writes, "When we decide to live another way, we can. When we realize that every day we are once again invited to live a life of beauty, then we need only say yes. May this Shabbat and the days ahead be filled with beauty and a time to engage in the things, and most of all with the people who make our hearts soar. Shabbat Shalom."